Welcome back to Into the River, Land of Confusion. This is part 9. Before I introduce my guest, I want to address something. So Kathleen and we talked on the last episode and said that we were going to do a part 2 where we were going to kind of go into some of the stuff about Tori, maybe some expose, disclosure stuff. I started to feel that for me and my heart in this series at this time, I want to just focus on people's stories and building community and strengthening others and letting people know through shared experiences that, there's similarities and that they're not alone. So I did want to say that you guys should definitely go support her. I'm going to drop the link to Main Street, Ohio, their website. I just watched her interview with her friend and I found it to be extremely enlightening. It's almost like an outsider's perspective where we're all people from the community and in the community, and what they were sharing was other grassroots organizations in Ohio where Tori lives, where some of the things in her sphere have affected those movements. So I think it's really powerful what they're doing. I know they're going to bring a lot of truth to light, and I fully support these ladies. I think they're doing a fantastic job. So I'm going to drop the link below again. Please go subscribe to their YouTube channel. They have a lot more coming. They're going to be starting a podcast soon. Anyway, that's where that's at. So this is episode 9. We will have an episode 10 where it's kind of my wrap up, and then this series will be concluded. That does not mean it's not open to people in the future. So if you want to share your story at any stage of this, from the outside, from the inside, please reach out to me below, and I will make sure that I hold space for you to share your story. So all of that said, I'm finally introducing my guest. Thank you so much for coming on, Morianna. How are you?
I'm good.
I really appreciate you doing this. I know it's a little, everyone's kind of like, should I, shouldn't I? And it's not easy to come and tell your story knowing, that there's this whole community attached, that everyone's gonna have an opinion. I've noticed as it's gone on, minus Kathleen, who obviously has had a very personal interaction with Tori, there hasn't been too much backlash, so that's good, but we can't control the way people react to things. So I appreciate you. I know it's not easy.
Yeah, I expect to ignore the backlash part of it. I just know that's how that things go, and whatever.
Yeah.
I think it's great that all of us admins or moderators or guardians are finally figuring out we weren't the only state. This didn't happen to just me.
Yeah.
That was huge. So I'm really glad you started the series.
Yeah, I am too. It's been a crazy experience for me. It's also been a very healing experience to be able to walk through this piece by piece so openly, because other people and their journeys are helping me as well. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's become a whole thing, and I'm grateful for it. And we're not going to stop. It's just going to keep going. But let's just start from the beginning. So tell us a little about you as a person, what brought you to Tori, whatever you want to share.
Okay. Well, it was real early in 2020 when probably within the first few weeks of COVID lockdown. Um, and I hopped on Twitter. I thought something doesn't feel right, and I hopped on Twitter, which I normally am not somebody who's on Twitter. And real quickly, I ran into a bunch of Trump fans, and information just seemed to be like flooding out. And that was the first time I ever heard like the Q or any of that kind of stuff. And probably within the first few weeks of being on Twitter, I found Tori. And I had listened to a couple other people, but the information I got from her felt right. It felt like, wait a minute, this is way different. This felt more like insider information, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah.
But real quickly, I saw through what she calls red stringers, the money makers, the what have you. And they were popping up everywhere. And I just am I feel like I'm a walking lie detector, kind of. That's what I do. I'm a licensed massage therapist. I do Reiki. I'm an energy worker, herbalist. That's just who I am. And so I used that to as discernment. And the minute I would just quickly, like, I'd see their videos and I'd be like, that's not true. That doesn't sound true. That doesn't sound like it's coming from a place of truth, even if it's true. Um, and I stopped listening to almost all the other videos that were out there. I still listen to Amazing Polly. I think she's great. I think she has really good investigations. And her motives seem good. Um, she doesn't. She's Everybody is entitled to be paid for their time. So um, I just looked at it kind of like that. But um, so what I liked about Tori was the once I finally got the hang of like Periscope. It was Periscope back then, where she would go live on Twitter, and I had um, interactions with other people on Twitter, and it felt very much like good energy. There was, and you could feel the excitement, and everybody is Trump, 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 and I felt like we had momentum energy wise. And then quickly, they took away Periscope. We all moved and we shifted to Twitch. Um, I paid her $5 a month on Twitch. It's no big deal. I'm not sorry I did. It's not really like I was out any money, real money. Um, and it was shortly after that that the Telegram stuff started popping up. We all got lost our Twitter, and kind of just got shoved out the door, right?
Yeah.
And all of us joined Telegram, and it wasn't very long after that we formed the state groups. And um, I was probably one of the first people in the Missouri state group. I was not the guardian, but I was an admin. And I'll admit, a lot of my problems are with the other guardian. And then we were the groups were everywhere. They were just popping up like crazy. But before I get into the state stuff, I want to talk about how good it was when I first found Tori, because I want to give her credit for that. And I really hope that whether she addresses this or not, I really hope that she's taken the time to watch your videos. Um, Maybe she is, maybe she isn't, but everybody can grow. And she doesn't know it all, but she knows a lot. I think she knows a lot. She helped me in a lot of ways. Health wise, I was really sick. She got me out of that loop and into other things, and she covered a lot of topics that I'm really interested in: the Antarctica, the flat earth, you name it. And she would throw little tidbits out, and she would talk to us about different things. And the medical stuff I learned from her is pretty spot on. Um, and she could break it down to where, like, I could understand what she was talking about. And the more I listened to her, the more I understood. So I think she's a really good teacher. Um, what her motives were for that time period, I don't know. And I still want to believe she had the right intentions to begin with. Um, and then something changed. But that was after the problems in the state group, and a lot of there's a lot of information that we are walking around with in our heads, and it just got packed and packed and packed on. But the state group started out to be great. We had Tori's main chat admins, and I, to begin with, thought my problems were with her admins, not her. And my story is almost identical to Matt's, because it was after the Telegram stuff. We had all been mailing letters and what have you. And I was going to school board. I don't even have kids in school. I was going to different towns to go to school board meetings to meet people. because I wanted to help. I wanted people to just know you can stand up. You can, you don't have to take this. And they're your kids, it's your responsibility. Um, we can make a difference, and that's what I thought. And I think we did in some places. I think that good things have come from this. Um, if nothing else, I have 3 really great friends out of it. We're still friends. We still have a little tiny net group, Um, there's maybe 6, 7, 8 of us maybe altogether. And so I'm grateful for those connections that I've made. They're local. These people I feel like would have my back. I have theirs. We together explored a lot of topics. It was almost like our private little think tank. And I enjoyed that. And
Can
that
you
all of
hold on 1 second? I'm gonna shut my window. I'm nervous that it's windy, that the sound's gonna pick up. I'll be right back.
okay.
I tried earlier, but I couldn't reach it.
Okay.
Sorry about that. Go ahead.
Okay. So we were let's see. Okay, so
Let's back
things.
up for a second. So you entered the state groups. You don't have to give names or anything like that and share whatever you're comfortable with. But like, what was the things that you started noticing that were resistance?
Okay, really quickly. Well, first of all things, we should definitely be people who understand freedom of speech. That's just, come on. It's, what are we fighting for if not that?
Yeah.
And our freedoms. And real quickly, I started seeing. Well, first of all, we were told over and over and over again there are groups, are state groups. They're not Tori says state groups. They're Missouri is a Missouri group. We're local. We know each other. Of course, Missouri is a big state, and we had to have like sections because I'm Kansas City and whatever, and St. Louis is 4 hours away, and so there was the main Missouri group and then offshoots, and that caused a few problems. But really quickly after we got the state group set up and everything, I started noticing that we had to go through channels, sort of. Tori would decide something, she would tell her admins would kind of tell us. And we had one group that all of us state mods and guardians and stuff were in. And that was kind of where we gathered to get information to take out to give to the other people in the state groups. And but really quickly that turned to, well, they're getting infiltrated. You have to have rules to be in your group. You need to have your username needs to be typed a certain way. You need to have a username. You have to show us what groups you're in. Basically, prove to me who you are is how it made me feel. And after that, they would throw things in like, well, if they're going to post these types of things, give them a warning and then kick them out. And we had new people coming in all the time. So new people, you're continuously repeating, explaining this isn't the focus of the group. You can't share such and such, whatever, right? Which I wasn't comfortable. We should be able to just talk. I wasn't real comfortable with that position. But at the same time, I thought, okay, well, we have to have some kind of structure, you know. And really quickly, I noticed that the guardian for the Missouri group was really cliquey. And we started having problems between the two of us because I was not comfortable. I am not a person who will just have an order barked at me and me just get in line. That's probably not going to happen. um, and so I was struggling a little bit, I'm like, wait a minute, wait, but then I would hear, nope, this is what Tori said. We're going to do this, and whatever. And then, it was when things really got bad at the same time that Matt noticed them getting bad. He mentioned the what is it? The vote group, the
audit groups.
Yes, the audit groups, the American audit groups or whatever. And we had members in our group that were active members in both groups. These people were filling out letters. They were helping us come up with the lawsuit stuff. They were typing, they were researching, they were working. I think they wanted to help, and it didn't, loyalty to a person who is a podcaster shouldn't have came into play, I don't believe. And that's exactly what happened. If they were in we were told, and I really thought at first it was the admins above me that were saying, okay, well, we're going to make rules about who can be in, who can't. So there was, you had to, the other guardian would, like, a new person would come in, and let's say their profile for Telegram wasn't filled out like they wanted it. They wanted a username. I can't remember all the details for this. This was like a couple of years ago for me. But anyway, and so what she would do is give people like a 3-day warning. You have to fix this, this, this. This is the other guardian from Missouri. You have to fix these things. And if not, she would just boot you out. That was it. Well, and then that audit group came up, and I thought the admins above me were telling us anybody in that group has to go. They cannot be in our state groups. They are infiltrators. They're stealing our information. Whatever. Yeah. It's this. And when Matt said that, I was like, that's exactly what happened to me. Exactly. Almost word for word. It's exactly what we went through. But at the time, I felt really alone. I thought it was me. I thought maybe it's because I just cannot get along with this other woman, right? Which kind of makes me feel a little like Brad in Florida, because they pushed him out, basically, is how I feel.
Was that woman, do you think, close with Tori at all? Because I've noticed
I think she's a peon.
There's like one person in each state that has like a closer relationship with Tori, and they tend to be the more like
I actually
dominating.
thought that was me.
Oh.
Yeah, I actually thought that was probably me more so than her. Even though I didn't really have a lot of private conversations with Tori, it was just, I had fairly good conversations with Wims. Some of the other admins, I never had problems with them. I would write to them, I explain what's happening. They at least I felt like they sometimes listened. Sometimes it would be weeks and then I'd hear something. But there's a lot of people in a lot of groups. That's 50 groups. So I thought, okay, it's the admins. This is not Tori. This is the admins. And she's got some crappy admins above us. But when that audit stuff come down, I spent like 10 hours straight going through that Missouri group and deleting people. And while I was at it, I realized that the guardian for the Missouri group, while she would give a new person who came in 3 days to fix their profile or they were booted, she had left hundreds of people in our group that had no profile at all. None. And I was furious. I was like, okay, rules for thee, but hey, if we're going to do it this way, do the work, do it right. I was really upset with this. And I spent 10 hours going through. I talked to my friends. I'm like, you guys are in both groups. I don't want to kick you out. I don't know what to do. And then something clicked and I was just like, hell with it. I'll kick them all out. And I was like so frustrated. And I removed people I shouldn't have and immediately contacted them and felt horrible. But what happened was I had spent 10 full hours, like straight, working and cleaning up. And I had the group clean. It was people we knew, and that was it. And I woke up the next morning and she had flooded this group with all of her friends and a bunch of people who were definitely in both groups. I screenshotted every single one I removed. And that meant I had to literally go to our group, look at members, click their profile. Can I see what groups they're in? Yes, no, maybe. Go to the audit group, go match up profiles. This is why it took me 10 hours. Match up. Are they in this group? I'm searching for a username, anything that they'll pop up, right? So it took forever. And that next morning, I was like, that's it. I'm done. And I just left the group. I never said anything to anybody. I just left. And I was pretty much done. And really quickly, like I said, the friends that I have now that we're still friends, they had started a offshoot group, a Green Dragon group. And so really quickly, I mean, I maybe had 2 months where all I did was listen to Tori and fume. I was really upset because I put a lot of time and a lot of effort into those groups, and I believed in this cause. And I thought we were really going to make a difference. I thought we were, anyway. So then I got into the other group. Well, I get into the other group. I'm out for about 2 months, and they get a hold of me and they want to put me in this group with them. And I'm like, yeah, okay. I don't want to be your guardian. I don't want to be your admin. I'll be a member just like you. And I agreed, and I got in that group. And
Is this a Tori group or is it?
yeah,
Oh,
it was an offshoot of Tori's group, because another thing that was happening was the Guardian she must have had 30 offshoot groups for that Missouri group. She would take a couple people, like 2 or 3 people from a certain area, and put them in a group with just her, and they would talk, and it was clicky like high school. And then I would find out, oh, you guys have another group? Well, I'm your admin. Why am I not in every group? I'm supposed to be helping run the channel, but if there's channels I don't even know about, then I can't really do my job. And so that happened a lot. And the more I mentioned it, the more it happened. And so when I had gotten to the part where I just walked out, that's it. I just deleted everything. I just left. It just kind of boiled up to that, because I was finding groups everywhere. And some of them would have, like, what she had done was take the most active members from areas of Missouri, put them in smaller groups, and was making sure she knew everything they did. Or I felt like it was just clicky like high school, and I don't know how else to explain it, right? Anyway, when I get to the Green Dragon group, we've all watched Tori since the beginning. We met each other really quickly, and we had met in person too. We had a friend, one of the guys has a shop, and we would go there and we would work on lawsuits together. We would research together. We would hang out. We had Thanksgiving dinner together, whatever. And that included this guardian I had a problem with. And I was just always civil. I never, I was just a civil person. I wasn't going to cause problems for the whole group because it's clicky. Anyway, so when I get into those people, because they called our meetups the Green Dragon meetups, they made a group called the Green Dragon. And All of us were either still in Tori's group or had been banned from Tori's group or left Tori's group. But we all had that. It didn't matter if we were in the Missouri group, not whatever. We still had the same connection. It didn't matter what group we were in. And the Guardian was also in this group. Now, the whole time, when I left, I wrote a letter, told them what happened, and I sent it to Tori and Wims and Jackson, I believe, and posted it in the actual admin group, for the admins, where all the admins for all of the other state groups were getting their information. And that was the first time I even let a little bit spill into that group that Missouri has a real problem. And I didn't leave the admin group, the admins above me. I figured that everybody in this group knows I am no longer a Missouri admin. If they don't want me in here, they can kick me out. And I stayed for a year. I was in the group. I knew exactly what letters they were writing. I was writing the letters. I was helping my friends that had the Green Dragon group. And the other admin was in that group with us. And then Join the Suit happened. And we ended up all going to that together as a group, like the Missouri group, even though I still was not in the Missouri state group. But I don't understand this. There's 8 or 10 of us, the Green Dragon group. It was like we were not entitled to that information because we had all been banned from the Missouri group. But I had the information for Join the Suit because I was in the admin group. I shared it with them, knowing the Guardian for Missouri was in that group. She immediately lost her mind and said, I was an infiltrator. I was a witch. I was running a coven. A lot of things. And it hit the main group. It went everywhere. And I couldn't comment on a live stream. I couldn't comment in the main chat without just being swarmed and attacked and by all those Missouri bitches. That's all,
Wait, because you gave information before they had a chance to give it?
I gave it to people who were banned from the Missouri group.
And that's why
we had our own group.
That's crazy.
It's insane. It's ridiculous is what it is. We all worked together, but like I said, I left the Missouri group. I did not start this other group. It was already in progress when I left, and we're friends. I still to this day am friends with those people. And we were the ones writing the letters. If we didn't do it, nobody from this area would. There would be the Guardian and the Guardian alone writing a letter. And she had a problem with me giving these people information. Her local group that she still attended she still attended these meetings, like in person. And she got mad and went to Tori, and the whole thing really blew up because I gave them information they weren't entitled to because they were not technically in the Missouri group anymore.
But she's still meeting with them, this woman.
She did at the time.
So she's allowed to see them, but not give them information. No one else can.
Yeah, right. Is that what it was? I don't know.
Okay.
None of it made sense. It was ridiculous. And it was literally a mind rape is what it was. I was just dumbfounded at the stupidity of the whole thing. And I thought, okay. Meanwhile, I'm still over here hearing Tori say, they're not my groups. they're your groups. They're your groups. They're your groups. And I'm like, well, you also make an awful lot of rules in my group then. And we're all out if we don't follow your rules. So, and then I find out she actually LLC'd them. I saw that information the other day. And that I didn't know until recently. That really makes that they're your groups a flat lie.
Yeah.
But up until this point, I was still a huge Tori fan. To this day, I love her, and I feel sorry for where all of this has taken her. I feel like maybe she started out with good intentions, and maybe the whole thing was a psyop, and I'm just an idiot. I don't know, but I would like to see the good in people. And I think I owe her some credit for all of the things that I actually did learn from her. I'm a better person now after. I'm really glad I crashed and burned early, though, from the state groups. It's been over a year since I've listened to Tori or been, other than like my local friends. We're still friends. We still have that group. And some of them still listen to Tori, some of them don't.
So when I want to go back just for a second. So when they took it to Tori, what followed? Like, did she get involved? Was there a repercussion?
There was a lot of backlash for me sharing information outside of a technical, legit Tori group, but yet.
But it didn't come from. Did it come from Tori or just from all these people?
It was the admins.
Okay.
No, that was the Guardian. The Guardian of Missouri took it to Wims and Jackson and the admins and Tori and what have you.
Did Wims and Jackson respond to you or try to correct you or anything?
At that point, I wasn't getting any responses from any of them. And I actually, what I said was, okay, let's do this. Seems like you have a problem with me not being in the Missouri group. Stick me back in the Missouri group, and I'll sit there as a silent member and do my thing and not bother anybody, right? So she did. And that's exactly what happened.
But then you were fine because you were complying with. You're there now, so you're fine. Even if you never open your phone.
Yes, and I'm like, I don't understand the whole thing. It's like, here's an invisible piece of tape. If you're not holding this invisible piece of tape, then you're not entitled to this information. You know, it's
and also I have to say it's kind of funny, this whole add an at thing. One, I had to remove my handle because people can report you if you have an at. Did you know that?
Exactly.
So if three people, that's why they do it.
You can get banned. You can get found. Yeah,
and I know that
I didn't know that at the time.
I didn't either. I know that the main chat admins have used, I don't know the current ones or who, because they are constantly rotating, but they use this tactic to get rid of people without banning them. But the other thing is, it's like there's this whole who are you, prove who you are thing, but like the main chat admins are like, no one knows who they are. They're like super suspicious. It's like
the machines. Yeah, I often wondered if they were actually Tori as well. I had even thought that at a time.
I thought at one point Delphi was AI, because I'm like, there's no way you're this like wrong and shitty and like predictable. I'm like, I was like, come on, this is AI, you guys. This is a joke.
I thought too. I thought that as well. Yeah, I had no idea. Wait a minute, am I even talking to a real person here? And that's what I liked about my Missouri group. At least I've seen them in person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I am now, it's 6-7 months down the line since I've even been in a Missouri group, almost a year, maybe, I don't know. And now I'm back in a Missouri group again. And so that it's okay for me to go to join the suit. Because if I wouldn't have, 3 people would have been there instead of like, there were several of us. There was 1, 2, 3, okay, 7 of us in my truck, I think. 6 or 7 of us went. And we drove a couple hours to go to join the suit. And it was a little cliquey. My friends hung out with me and their friends, they hung out as a group, but we were also a bigger group that way. Anyway, right after that, when we got back, all of a sudden I'm kicked out of the Missouri group, and I'm also kicked out of that main admin group, because up until that point, I was still in that admin group. So I'm like, if I'm in the group, and Wims knows I'm in this group, Tori knows I'm in this group, I have made myself present, known, I post in this group all the time. They know I'm here. They know I'm not the admin for the Missouri group. Obviously, they don't have a problem with me taking the information to the people who are actually going to do the work. And up until she threw a fit. I mean, she threw such a fit, they kicked me out of everywhere.
Wait, because you went to join the suit? Sorry if you already said this again.
Yes, because
Okay.
yes, yes, because she has. When it all went down, it was fine that I wasn't in the Missouri group. I think she decided I had to be in that group and put me in that group. She left the Green Dragon group that of my friends, and put me in the Missouri group, because I told all the admins, all 50 states, they could probably go back and find the post if that group even still exists, where I said, I don't know what the problem is, Feisty. You are in this group with me. I'm not hiding anything. I'm being honest. Did I share it? Yes. I gave it to the people who just got booted because of something stupid. But I also, and I explained to everybody, she's in the group with me. It's not like I have a group behind her back. That never happened. But anyway, it got portrayed that way. And a lot of other her clicky friends threw fits, and you know how it's clicky, right? And everybody is prying for Tori's attention. Doesn't matter who you step on, as long as they are climbing up this pyramid to reach Tori, is how I felt. And I thought, yeah, she's good, but she ain't that good. I don't need to step on my friends to. No, she doesn't have to give me the time of day. I don't want it now. And but and that was probably, we're talking it was cold that day when we went to join the suit, so it was probably fall of 21. Then she threw such a fit that she got me kicked out of the admin group, which cut off all information for the whole Kansas City, anybody in the Kansas City area that was actually filing letters and things like that. It completely cut them off. My connection to there was how they were getting the templates and what have you. And so that left her in this area to file suit, to do whatever. And
Was she sharing the information with anyone, or was it just
in the Missouri group? Yes.
But no one else is allowed to have. Okay, cool. Because that's
Right.
weird, because I used to share some of the CTAs that I felt compelled to do, like on Instagram. I remember Tori in the beginning would say, share with your friends and family. So it's kind of weird.
I thought the idea was to get more people involved and to form a local community. And you need people to do that. You need information. You need to give people need something to do. They need to feel like they're helping, whatever. But information shouldn't be controlled information.
In a way, you might not agree with this, but personally, and now that I've gone back, I did that episode on looking back at the CTAs, and I'm not saying they were all bad or whatever, but I do think it's a lot of busy work and a lot of things that go nowhere and a lot of flooding the
I do too.
system. So now that I look at it that way, I almost in retrospect, I'm like, well, it's kind of a blessing that these people were all cut off and like
I
weren't.
am thankful now.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
So
At the time, though, it was really, I was just getting hit from all sides, right? And I was pretty much had it. And so I get kicked out of the admin group. I get kicked out of the Missouri group. Still in the Green Dragon group. Those people are my friends. I met those people. They're actual people. They're not bots. They're, and that was when I said, okay, I've had it. And that she was attacked. Anytime I would comment in the main chat, she was trying to get me banned from the main chat. And to this day, I'm still not banned
that's
from Tori's
crazy.
main chat. Yeah, because I just keep my mouth shut. I know better than to stand up or say anything because that will definitely get me banned. But they tried really hard to get me banned in that group. And I thought, okay, the first time I met the Guardian, she gave me a piece of paper. I shoved it in my wallet. I looked in my wallet and there was her name and her address. And they were accusing me of stalking her. Well, I wanted her to leave me alone. Hey Don, come get Luke. You can probably hear my dog barking. Oh, hang on.
You're fine.
Okay. In the main group, every time I would even post any kind of a comment at all, they were attacking me. Like I said, they said that I ran a coven, that I was a witch, and I don't know. And then they started accusing me of an actual crime. Stalking is a crime. And that's when I really started having a problem. Was I don't understand how they could say I was stalking her when I had her blocked. And I took myself, I was out of the situation and I wanted nothing to do with this woman. I didn't want to work with her. I didn't want to talk to her. It was done. When I'm done, I'm done. Just leave me alone. So I was definitely not stalking her, but I, at the same time, couldn't post in the main chat. And I real quickly saw they're trying to get me banned in here as well. And so I got on Amazon. Anyway, when I first met her, she gave me her phone number and her address and her name or whatever. And I shoved it in my wallet and I forgot about it. Well, I happened to remember it then. And I got on Amazon and I ordered a tiara because Tori's main thing is titles and tiaras. And I thought, all right, it's on. And I mailed her a tiara and I signed the card. It had my name on it. And I signed, I think you dropped this. And I mailed it. I did not deliver it to her house. I have no idea where her house is. I just had a random address. I didn't know if she actually lived there or not. She got it because yeah. Anyway, and that's why, and then they really started pounding that I'm stalking her. And I'm like, I think they thought I would deny the fact that I did it. And I thought, no, I'm transparent. I will be honest with you. I don't care. I did it. I sent her the tiara and I posted it in Tori's group. Tori had to have seen it. She had to have died laughing over it. At least I hope she did. I don't know. Maybe it made her day. Who knows? But I was just tired of it. And real and at the same time I was tired of Tori shows and everything, and I just turned it off. I just thought, okay, I'm really done. And like I said, I still have that really small, we still have the Green Dragon group, and there's, we still talk, we still share things, everything. But I haven't listened to Tori's for over a year. And I'd like to kind of go into that as well because, like I said, I feel like a walking lie detector. And I felt like Tori was, the information I got from her was probably true in the beginning. And then I believe it might have been, I was still listening to Tori. So it was the end of, it was the winter of 2021. And she told a story. She had actually, I believe she went to New York. Well, she was in New York, and I think maybe she went there to see Wims, but I don't really know. But she was telling a story about being on the street corner with her daughter and ordering food from a food truck, and that some random stranger was just randomly talking about Tori says state groups and what have you, and had and she played it off as the guy had no idea who she was. Well, I would know her voice. I don't care where I am, what I'm doing. I would know her voice. And I thought, wait a minute, this sounds wrong. And I listened to that show probably 5 times. And I thought, oh shit, she's lying. And if she isn't lying, she's definitely fabricating and stretching the truth. But why? And I wanted to know why, because I honestly think that truth is frequency, and I think truth does ring. I think you can tell if you try to tune in and you actually listen, you can feel it. And I'm sure there are very people that are way better and smarter than me who can fool me into faking that energy. I'm sure of it. But I didn't feel like Tori was doing that in the beginning. But I felt that shift and I thought, oh shit. And that's when I really stepped back and I thought, oh shit. Because then I really realized, okay, no, I'm tired of her telling me I'm dumb and I'm too stupid to figure it out. And now, all of a sudden, I felt like, oh, this is like when I left my first husband and I looked back. And this is when I left my second husband and I looked back and I thought, these people are abusive. And she has, she's played on people's codependency through abusive behavior, is what I think happened. And that's not right. I think something changed. And I don't know if it was after Shadowgate came out and she actually lost her credentials or whatever it is that whatever she was looking at to gather information, something changed. And either that or she had information up to the certain point and she was going to wing it after that. I don't know. But I thought, oh, you helped me fine tune this tool. And now I'm going to use this tool against her because I know when she's lying and I know when she's not. And I don't hear too much truth coming out of Tori lately. And I'm sad about that. I'm really sad. I don't know if it's the money. I don't know if I have no idea.
I read, oh, go ahead.
It happened after the Tesla and now, I mean, she pounded that information into our head about why are they hiding behind paywalls? Why do they charge you for information? Why this, that? But the minute she got off of Twitch, and I almost want to say I'm not so sure she was actually banned from Twitch if she didn't take herself off Twitch to go to locals and make more money.
You're not the first person that said that to me, and people that were closer to her also said the same. Yeah. But we don't know, allegedly. But yeah, it's interesting. I'm hearing it multiple times.
Yeah, and like I said, I don't know. This is just sometimes common sense kicks in and you kind of see the bigger picture, I think. the longer I was away from her show, the more I look back and say, "Oh crap, yeah, I was kind of dumb for falling for that. Yeah, I pretty much screwed up there." But through this whole ordeal, that's all I thought. How could I be so stupid as to think that was this way, or So I'm not new to conspiracy theorists. Like I was born this way. I question everything. I have never been a fan of our government and have never thought they were out to protect us or give us anything. And to this day, and my husband reminded me a while ago, we would really like to know what's coming, because she kept telling us nothing can stop what's coming. We have it all. Well, maybe. I don't know. That's kind of
And who's we?
yeah. Who is
Remember
we
the
and who is
whole,
they?
remember them in
And
the beginning, the trust the plan means trust their
trust the
plan.
plan.
Sounds
Yes,
different now, doesn't it?
it does. It's yes, very much so. Don't trust their plan. Trust my plan.
Don't trust
My
me.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Don't trust me. Just trust my plan.
Which
Is
is
that
their
it? I
plan,
know.
which is
Yeah.
what? What's
Yeah.
happening?
And yeah. And it's like, okay, I just can't do any more riddles.
Yes.
Yeah, I believe it's a psychological tactic to it's like trying to solve a jigsaw puzzle. It's like playing a video game. Um, it is a mystery, like people get into mystery novels, whatever. You get invested in those things, and that's exactly how I look at it now. Was, oh yeah, I wasted a whole lot of time there, but um the solving the puzzle part was um appealing. Maybe that's how I want to put it.
I call it create your own adventure. That's how in the very first episode, I was like, it feels like
Oh
those
yeah.
adventure books where you get, do you want to make this choice or that choice? And you can like
Yes.
lead through the thing. And I've noticed that it's so, now I look at it like there's some good stuff in there. A lot of it's just pulled off of other people's content and YouTube and all this shit. So a lot of
Uh-huh.
it's just the news and her take and her cryptic stuff. And but there is good stuff in there. And it's like everyone latches onto the thing they want and they're like, this is my adventure. But now when I look at
Yes.
it, I'm looking at all the things she reposts where people are like, oh my God, I discovered this thing. And other people lately are kind of like, yeah, that's old news. Like, yeah, that was like
Oh my gosh, that's
years
exactly what
before
happened to me this
Tori
morning
started.
with the JFK stuff.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Word for word, I just said, no, I heard this story 2 or 3 years ago. This isn't new. And they're like, well, it's new to me. And I said, yeah, well, it probably is, but um,
That was like
but
4 hours of the wasn't it like 4 hour
I didn't
episode?
watch it, and my husband, I think, said he's seen it, but I didn't watch it. I was just looking at screenshots of her post, I think.
I like
Um,
Brad's channel because I quit listening a month ago and I like that I can see clips because he takes out, I feel like the meat, the stuff that's like I want to look at and see those moments where because now I've shifted my focus from all of the chaos to her. Like I like to watch you now with new eyes because I feel like you were talking earlier about frequency. And I have a question for you since you kind of deal in this work. Like I have a take on what happened to me when my eyes are open. That's the best I can describe it as like all of a sudden my eyes were open, the veil was removed, I could see. But is it possible that there's some kind of an ascension process where we're tuning into frequencies that are
I
allowing us?
I absolutely think that's happening. Yes.
Okay.
Um, and I still am not quite sure that this didn't happen to me, but um, I think, and I used to say this a lot, and that I felt like when I got on Twitter, I felt like Tori had sent out a frequency call. Let's put it that way. And I recognized it immediately and really quickly was just like, I'm not kidding. You can ask my husband, where there was, how many red stringers that, or whatever you want to call them, people were popped up there. There were hundreds of them at once, right? There was like methods and red pill
Red
78
pill
and
and
the
X22, praying
X20.
medic.
Yes, yes,
Yeah.
all of them. okay, but really quickly, I could turn them on, and within 5 minutes, I'd be like, nope, next, nope, next, nope, next. Like the Charlie Wards and those type of people,
Mhm.
right? Mm-mm, nope, I can. It's like bowling for me, and I led me straight to Tori, and that made me feel like it was more of a frequency thing,
You know what, for
and
me, I don't even remember. I remember finding her on Shadowgate, but I don't remember searching her name. I don't remember being so impressed with what she was saying. Like my boyfriend was more into Shadowgate, but I found Tori. And so it's weird. It's like I've talked to other people who say they can't remember exactly how they got to her spaces. And I'm like, that's weird because I wasn't on Twitter. I wasn't on any of her socials. Like I found all that later. So I'm like, it's almost like you said, like I was like drawn into this
uh-huh,
space.
that's very much what it was like.
Yeah.
Um, and it- but she drilled things into our heads that she's very repetitive with information, um, just like we have it all, and
Yeah.
nothing can stop what's coming. Or
All the Q phrases, but she's
yeah,
not Q, but it's software. But like in the beginning, it was a different
I
story.
have a clip where she says she was. It
Yeah.
was on Twitch. I have
See,
I
I
have
think I have a theory about Twitch. I mean, I don't like to live in theory, but I love Brad's room
yeah.
that we're all throwing our shit out there and just
Oh
like,
yeah.
hey, I don't know, this is fun to figure out this mystery of this person who is super mysterious and like we feel has been deceiving us. But I have a theory that the Twitch thing, there was a shift in the script and it was time to let those episodes fall off.
I agree.
And I
Um,
think that notice now she's on locals and not, and then after this episode, she'll probably go back to Rumble. Like, who knows? But she's kind of backed into this local space right now. And I think part of it is Brad's clips because people are seeing her for as she is with her words.
yeah.
You know, we're just kind of being
Yes.
like, here you go, this is her words. And we're all just like, whoa, I've never seen it like this. And that's like
Uh-huh.
back to the frequency thing to finish that thought.
Yes.
Once I started tuning into it, and it was the same with you, only a different situation. I saw her as a liar. When I caught her in a blatant lie, there was
Yep.
no ifs, ands, or buts about it. I was just,
Yep.
I don't know how I missed all the other lies, but whatever. That was my moment and my time to wake up. Um, I feel that I was kept in the dark, um, to protect me and also to keep me there so I could learn because I feel that my purpose is to help people out. So I think that I was kept from seeing her as she was for the time being so that I could observe her. And once it turned on for me and it clicked, it was like turning a light on in a room. And since then, every time I've listened to her and watched her, I don't know what I used to see, but I can't.
Yeah.
I see her lying constantly. I
Yeah.
see her fidgety, nervous. I see when she's trying to put on super strong, but you can tell behind it it's bullshit. Like I'm like, this is like so weird. It's like I watched her go from this thing in my mind to just diminishing down to, and I'm not just saying that to try to destroy her character or whatever. It's just like I'm realizing that the substance that I added, a lot of it was coming from me. And I was inserting what I believed about her and making it powerful because it was choose my own adventure. And so
Yes.
I don't know, as I look back, the
I
majority of
think
what
dopamine
happened
has
was
something to
my
do with
growth.
it.
Dopamine, wait, and also 3 hours of a show, you might latch on to 5 minute clip of it and think that episode is the greatest ever. And then when I go listen back, I'm like wading through bullshit for this 5 minute moment. So I gave all this time for that moment of
Yeah.
something that really just confirmed something I already knew. And I thought it was
Right.
special because she said it. And like it's kind of fucked up. Anyway, that was a tangent.
Well, before they actually stole the 2020 election, and Trump was still running for president and having those rallies, and I remember being in Tori's chat room, and the energy in those rooms were off the chart. Like we could have manifested so many great things, is how I felt about those nights. Um, and it was something about, and that's dopamine, that's a lot of brain chemistry going on, but it is energy as well. um because I think when you have a group of people who come together for a good cause and everybody comes with just love and good intentions, nothing can stop that energy, is what I think. Um, because I think that's how reality happens. I think it's manifested in good ways that way. Um, but so I don't want to. I don't want to say anything super bad about Tori. I still love her. But I also am not going to let her abuse me.
Yeah.
I feel very much like her tone and the way she treats her followers like minions is not pretty.
I don't know if
And
it's always been that bad or if it just started
I don't
ramping
think
up.
so. I don't think so. Um, it's almost like, okay, if you have read, I don't know how much about the Q stuff that you've read or whatever, but I've read the whole thing. It's like a book, man. I went back. I've even went back and listened to Tori shows on Red State Radio, the iHeart, way back, and I know halfway through the whole Q thing, the whole tone and everything changed. It's like it had a script writer and then they changed writers. Or maybe they had a new director, right? Like you can kind of tell that. And if you're watching TV or anything, you can tell somebody's work and then it changed. And I feel like that's exactly what Tori has done. So far, it felt a certain way, but I recognized immediately when it started to change and it went downhill from there. I never was fond of, I got really tired of hearing her bash other people.
Mhm.
Um, I don't think anything good is ever going to come from that. Um, but
I
it was
remember the
almost,
second that happened. I remember because it was about a year ago or so, I want to say. It was like I don't
yeah,
remember.
probably like a year and a half ago or so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember it started to turn into a lot of ego. Tori said this, Tori said that,
Yeah.
Tori said that. And then it turned into the
The,
bashing and then it progressed into sending the followers to other spaces to attack like a little militant army. And then I was
I
just always like,
recognized that immediately
oh,
and
so
thought,
good
nope,
with this.
I don't
Yeah,
want
no,
any part of that. No, I
no.
don't need that. I do good on my own. um, and I was going to say something. I forgot what I was going to
I'm
say.
sorry. Well, no, and then another thing is just that I've
Oh, the
noticed.
bashing. Yeah, the
Yes,
bashing.
the
Yeah.
bashing that this week alone, it's I guess the language has gotten really nasty. Demons, losers, garbage people,
Um,
tools, desperate housewives, like the things I'm seeing, I'm just literally and I'm watching people love it and rally
I
around
feel
it.
like the more her audience repeats her words, the worse she gets.
Ooh.
And that's straight up ego, I think.
Hmm.
Um, like I swear, if anybody tells me they're not going to spoon feed me,
Hmm.
they might wish I don't spoon feed them. Because I can't stand it when people use hurt words. Um, I just it turns my gut.
I
Like,
have that feeling right now. I don't want to,
yeah,
yeah.
and I just can't because it's like, and it's phrases that are degrading phrases like,
Mhm.
uh, wait, I think maybe if you want people on your side, wouldn't it be kind of cool to help them out? you know, do your own research. Well, yeah, we're trying to, but some things I just don't understand how they work. You know, that's not spoon feeding me. That's helping me figure it out.
Well,
Um,
isn't that's the point of community like that I love about the chat we're in now? It's like everyone has questions and people are like, hold on, what about this? And they're adding to it and it feels nice to throw ideas off of others. This is what you do when you sit around and conversate. It's like you explore
it's a
things together.
two-way conversation now. I
Yeah.
believe I'm not being talked at.
Hmm.
I'm being talked to That, that's the difference, I think.
Yeah.
And we're free to finally just let this shit out and just move on.
So okay, I want to get to this. We're at the stage where you left and now you put some distance. Do you want to share anything about, was there a, like, because I'm going through a lot with leaving, of pulling, I could say the cords out of my neck. I feel like I was attached to Tori physically and now I'm literally like breaking free. What was did you go through any sadness, depression, anger, anything during that exit time?
Yeah, when that New York thing, when I heard that the first time, and I thought, wait a minute, this is wrong. This isn't true. And then that was kind of like, okay, my eyes are going to open just a little bit, and then they just kind of popped open, like, oh shit. But I was really mad. I was mad at Tori, and I let all my friends how mad I was. And I was just dumbfounded as to why. Why now? And then that really makes you question, wait a minute, has it been all along? And I think the human thing to do is to completely blame yourself. And that really can't be the case in this situation. I think it was intentional, and I don't know.
No, I would like you to go, if you don't mind,
um,
because of your field and what you work in, I think it'd be helpful for you to kind of go deeper into that, because I've been struggling with blaming like when I see like the other day someone shared her post and she said, people who say, I'm not going to tell you what to think. And then the next paragraph, she goes, people who say, I'm not going to tell you what to think are PUSS. I don't like that word. I'm not going to say it.
yeah.
But it was basically like, she told you, I'm not going to tell you what to think. And then she was saying, people who say this or this. And I was like, does she not even remember what she said 2 seconds ago? So like, I'm looking at this contradiction, and and then I feel stupid. I'm like I'm going back and forth between being so angry at her, not because her as a person, but at the control she has over people, I guess. But
Hmm.
then on the other end, I'm blaming myself, like, you fell for this. So can you talk a little more? Because I do think everyone should take personal responsibility, but also to a degree. But for me, it felt like I was under a spell. And
Yes.
so can you speak to that? Because I think people could really benefit from you sharing why you don't think they should blame themselves fully.
Okay. Yeah,
Sorry.
because I think it was intentional. I think Tori is smarter than people give her credit for. And in the field of like psychology and that type of stuff. Now, whether this is because the government has used it on her or whatever, I don't know. I don't know if she's living her sister's life. I don't know. Anyway, but I I think that what makes it different is that, like, well, people will think I'm nuts if I tell you I think the earth is flat. I don't actually think it's flat. I think I don't know what it is. Um, I don't think NASA is telling us the truth. So, but it's similar. Let me go there for a second, because when I was a little kid, I didn't buy that. Wait a minute, I can't get on a merry-go-round and I can't ride in a car for 5 miles. You want me to believe I'm standing on a ball spinning 90 miles, million miles an hour? I'm just not going to do that. No. I literally couldn't get on the playground thing without throwing up when I was a kid. And there's no way I'm on a spinning ball. I just couldn't buy into it. And it's sometime as a kid, I thought, this is what they want to hear. I'm just going to tell them what they want to hear. And then I forgot. It was like I forgot to question stuff.
Mm,
And I really felt
mm,
dumb and thought, man, how did I fall for that one? Right. And I really beat myself up. But then when it came to Tori, I think she knew exactly what she was doing. And when that's the case, she definitely knows what she's doing right now,
mhm,
um, because she's hiding behind a paywall. She's
mhm.
using her audience as her income. That's her job. That's if she loses her audience, she loses everything. And it made no sense to me how you could treat your gold mine that badly. And that's why we were all compartmentalized and kept apart and made to feel like we were the only one, because she knew, I think she knew, the minute somebody opens up and says, but this is what happened, and the right person, the other person, like Matt, like his interview was really great for me, because it was like, that's exactly what happened to me right then, that same time period, everything. And I'm like, okay. And then that made me step back even further. And okay, now I understand why we have 50 state groups. I understand why those state groups were split into so many other groups. I understand why there are so many. I'd like to know how many damn groups she has on Telegram. But that we had the guardian groups, we had the admin groups, we had this group, we had that group, all compartmentalized. Very few people were in all those. And when that happens, nobody knows. You're all of us were walking around with half a story.
Mm-hmm.
We didn't even know we had half a story. We thought we had the whole story. So that was intentional.
Mm-hmm.
That is totally not your fault. You were kept in the dark and fed shit, and that's not your fault. The fact that you bought into it, it's a little, I mean, I think you have to take personal responsibility. But you also, I think part of the healing is allowing yourself to place blame where it actually goes, not carrying it all. Because I remember thinking as an admin, man, these people are above me, and wow, I felt sorry for them, because I'm dealing with just this many people. They must be dealing with a whole lot of people, And that wasn't really, I mean, it was set up that way. And it could have been much different, and should have been much different. And I don't see a lot of good things have come from anything that we did. I know I think you have mentioned before, like, everybody hopped on that, filling out the form online to complain about a
GAO
yep,
complaint.
and it shut down. Now nobody gets to complain. I'm pretty sure it's fixed now. I don't know.
It's
I don't do
fixed, but
any of
they
that stuff.
added
Yeah.
rules that are
Yeah.
permanent. So
And so it was almost like, find the loopholes and close them up.
find the back doors and the good things that are working. And then
Yeah.
sometimes when people were doing something that was actually getting momentum, and then it's like those groups are infiltrated. I believe.
Yes, and if you got momentum, the attention was quickly directed away from that and back on her. It's look at me, look at me, look at me. Say my name, say my name, say my name. Well, no.
And then say my name, but it's copyrighted, so don't say it. But say
yeah,
it.
so don't say it, because I might
I
sue
don't know.
you if you
Is
do
this
say it.
illegal? This is. I'm still using
Oh
my
yeah,
mug.
yeah. I don't know. I don't know. But like
Please
I
don't
said,
sue me, lawyers who are watching.
Yeah.
And hello.
Like I said, I think that I don't know what happened, and I don't know for sure. I just know it's very cult-like. And looking back, I feel sorry for the people who are still sending her money. I feel like now she's basically a snake oil salesman, and that's the oldest profession in the world. They've always been around, and they probably, maybe people like that will always be around. I don't know. But the reason why I wanted to talk to you today was because I don't want it to turn into just a bash Tori, bash Tori, bash Tori. I don't want that for her. I kind of, in some weird, twisted way, hope she wakes up and sees what she's doing to so many people And now I feel like she's actually leaving victims in her wake right now. And I hope other people aren't hurt. And I hope they aren't giving her a really money they don't have to give her.
Yeah.
That because it's so hard right now. And she's flying around first class. She's staying in expensive hotels. She's driving a Tesla. And don't give her your last, meal. Don't do it
Yeah.
because she's not worthy of it. Um,
I don't want to, and I don't necessarily want to bash Tori, and I appreciate that. That's why I'm happy that you're on, because you've been out for a while and you have a really good perspective about it. But for me personally, I like how you said it's important in the healing process to put blame where it belongs, because
mhm.
I'm in that phase right now where I
Yep.
have to cut her completely out, and I have to be able
Yes.
to point and say, that is who you are. This is who you are. I'm not going to her space and doing it, but I'm saying
Right.
it to anyone who will listen, because
Yes.
I can't hold on to this, and I need to shout from the rooftops that I was just lied to, and this is the person who did it. And I'm going to discover her. But I know eventually I'll get to forgiveness. But even though I get really angry, and my anger comes from people who are hurt and who are still in that space, if it's bad for them, some have escaped the bad part and are more reasonable about it. But my anger right now, it's not at her as a person. Ironically, I can still think of her and be like, I wish you wouldn't have taken this route, but also this is your karma. And
Yeah.
you can change it at any time. Wish you well on that journey. But until you make everything right and find true humility, like you're cut off forever from me. Like, because of the, like you said, the wake that she's left. So I'm in that very, very angry phase right now. I try not to bring it out too much on the podcast, but yeah, I'm pissed.
Yeah. And I think that fades with time.
Yeah.
Um, like I said, it's been a year, and
Yeah.
uh, I almost didn't join this group because I wasn't sure if I wanted sucked back in. Honestly,
You
but
sound
I
like
don't feel like,
Wonderland. She's saying the same thing. I just got
yeah,
out of this whole Telegram thing,
yeah,
and damn it,
and
now I'm here.
but I'm also not the same person I was a year ago, and I really hope that other people aren't getting hurt. And it's, I think deep down, I really hope Tori listens to these, takes the criticism, whatever. Um, and actually, if she would stop for a second and look at herself and watch her own shows and really step back and listen to herself, I think she's going to have a problem with, she's going to have a lot of guilt to deal with.
I think I was
And
having
that's not going to
that
be pretty.
I was having that thought today, that if she would just look in the mirror, not the mirror you walk through into some
Right.
upside down space, that I'm
Yeah.
talking about, look in an actual mirror and start to see yourself the way you might see yourself, the way we see you. But also, I've been reading the Bible a lot lately, and it's interesting. There's a theme. I don't know if you ascribe to this, but I'm noticing a theme where it's like God closes the eyes of certain people for a reason, especially those doing evil, so that through their ridiculousness, more people will find freedom. And I can think of times in my life where my eyes were closed up until 2020 on certain things. And then it was like, boom,
Sure.
lights are on. And then I'm going through a
Yeah.
reawakening now with Tori. So I'm like, maybe part of her, like these politicians and stuff, they don't know how ridiculous they sound. Maybe part of that is like she has a mental block or
Well,
an energetic
yes.
block.
Yes. And from our perspective as well, it isn't, it's, timing is coming into play as well, because even me, I've been a conspiracy theorist, if that's what you want to call me, forever. I've researched forever, but I think in 2020 it really shattered my reality.
Yeah.
Um, and I woke up, and I felt like everything I had ever known wasn't anything like I thought it was. And your reality cracks and it shatters, and you have a paradigm shift to deal with on top of everything else. And I think people are vulnerable then. And I think the last thing that we all needed was somebody to step in and, well, for one thing, help shatter that reality and then replace it with something that was just as toxic.
Just as toxic. And well, and I think that we would have found it no matter what. If it weren't
Uh-huh.
her, it would have been someone else.
It would have
I'm
been a different one. Yep.
I'm so grateful. You're right about the timing. I felt it and I knew it was coming, but 23 is for me, people they learned the first phase of reality being shattered, and then we all had our new snake oil. The
Hmm.
salesmen come in, the news, whoever, we're going to save you. We're the influencers here. And they came and they fractured us more, indoctrinated us with whatever. And then I've noticed from all these other groups, everyone's kind of coming around. And I'm like, next phase of this is we're all going to talk. So
Yeah.
we're in our space with the Tori people, but I'm doing a podcast right after this series with the girl who started Exposing Flynn Network. Her and I were friends a year ago, quit talking. And I'm like, she's like, we need to do a podcast. I'm like, we do. So it's already going to pop off into more understanding, because I'm like, what have you been learning the last year? This is what I'm learning on my end. And I feel grateful that I know the inner workings of this Tory community, because the people trying to expose her, I'm not trying to expose her. I'm processing. If she gets exposed, I will enjoy it. But the people on that end, they're missing a lot of details because they weren't on the inside. So when we've listened to every single show, and like multiple times, I'm like,
and heard it all. Yeah.
I'm like, I got info that can be helpful. She did say that. I mean, my friends will text me and they'll be like, did she say, what is her stance on this? And I know exactly what it is. Like,
right, me too. Yeah.
So we're valuable. So I want to shift into, how did you feel as we're kind of starting the decline towards the wrap up, when did you notice that like there was this shift happening, the podcast or Brad speaking out or this group, like what first came into your purview about the fact that this was all happening?
I think somebody in the Green Dragon sent me your videos.
Oh, okay.
That and immediately I had no idea that we've actually talked before. I
reached out to you. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do now.
Because I saw you defending someone in main chat when they were getting attacked, and I started a misfits group for all the people who are blocked, and I was like, hey, you're cool and you're like nice, but you never came in.
No, that was when I was probably getting out and thought, no, I don't need a group. And I'm right now, I'm still kind of iffy about groups a little bit. I'm kind of turned off by groups for the time being. And like you, I have stepped outside of, I've never been really like an activist or a political person or whatever, right? And it consumed me. And now that I'm away from that for like about a year, I feel like I'm really blooming into, okay, this is the new me now, and I like it. A lot outside of Tori, a lot of personal things happened for me in the last 3 years. Like, I know people have lost loved ones to at least, whatever. And 2020 was a really hard year, a hard wake up for a lot of people, but it's a blessing for me. Like, that's when things started to change for me. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful I went through all of that dumb stuff along with it, with the good stuff, right? Because I feel like I'm in a good place now. And it's weird how much online groups are very culty like. And it isn't just Tori, it's a lot of them. And I think even now, I mean, there's a lot of influencers out there who still have their own cliquey followers, and people kind of tend to, whatever rings true for them at that moment is where they're gonna get in line and follow.
Yeah.
And I think that isn't going to be good for our country. I think
Yeah.
people need to figure out life on the home front and figure out that if you want to fix this country, then the best thing we can do is to live our most authentic life.
Mm.
And I'm not going to be free because Tori tells me I am, or because the government gave me some right somewhere. I'm free because I'm breathing and I was born and my creator gave me that freedom. So none of those people can take it away from me.
Yeah.
None of them. And
That's, yeah.
I don't know that. I think that's one of the deep seated lessons that needs to be learned through this whole process
Mhm.
is, what does freedom look like to you,
Yeah.
and what are you going to do when you wake up in the morning? What are you going to do to make sure you live a free life? And the more people who choose to do that, the better this country is going to get, I think. Because if you don't, it's kind of like use it or lose it, maybe. I don't know. Um, but I don't know. I've met so many cool people the last couple of years. Um, Lots of homesteaders and preppers and the whole 9 yards. And that's another thing that I wanted to bring up too, was that Tori pounded it into us. You can't prep for this. You can't prep for this. Well, yes, I can, because I'm probably sitting in a much better position than a lot of people are right now. Um, and that might be because they listen to Tori wholeheartedly, or they listen to people like Tori, like trust the plan. Um, yeah, no, that's not doing anybody any good. You better make sure you have your family taken care of, and trust yourself and trust your God, whatever that is.
Yeah.
Then, yeah,
Yep.
if I,
100%. No, that's
yeah,
it. When I love that so much, and you've had chickens and garden.
I
Talk a
do.
little
Yeah.
about like what's happened post Tori in your life.
Um, well, in 2020, me and my husband, well, Um, in 2019, I was almost bedridden. I couldn't leave the house. I was fully training my dog to be my service dog. I couldn't walk a flight of stairs. And I was really sick. And then 2020, and like I said, I had that sickness loop going, and I was depressed and everything else. And all of a sudden, I had something to really focus on besides myself. And that kind of pulled me out of it. I immediately thought, oh, wait, she's got a problem with the medical field. I have a problem with the medical field. And it clicked. And I started kind of listening. And then I started looking into it a little more for myself. And I saw the pharmaceutical company for actually what it is. And immediately started dropping drugs that no, I'm not taking that. I'm not taking this. I'm not taking that. And I got better fast. And I give Tori part of that credit because, like I said, she made learning fun again. She's a good teacher. Um, but what you teach is also teaching you. So she should probably, yeah, you know, so she's got some hard lessons coming her way, I think. Um, and that's just her path, I think. But so I've gotten over being quite so sick. I still have the diseases I had before, but I'm kind of better. I have at least have quality of life now. I'm not bedridden, and I'm scared to sit down and stop moving, because once I started, I know what it's like to not be able to move, and now I can. And so, anyway, so when all of this happened, um, we were in a pretty expensive rental property. And my daughter I have two new grandbabies, and she was kind of looking for a house to buy. She's still in an apartment, but anyway, So she sent me this place and I thought, wow, I looked on Google Maps and I thought, I don't even think there's a house there. And me and my husband got in our car and we drove over here, and it was an abandoned house. And I looked through the window and I said, I'm going to live here. We're buying this place. Like, this is my home. And I immediately saw that it had all original woodwork. It's like built in 1908, Victorian. It has two sets of pocket doors they're complete and not painted. They're
Wow.
beautiful. Anyway, but the whole place was full of raccoon poop and had been abandoned for years. So we're gutting it. But anyway, we got this place and it has like, it's a lot and a half maybe. And it's in a tiny, tiny little town, maybe like 400 people, if that. Like we have a post office, that's it. And I have thrown myself into it doesn't matter what happens to the outside world, because I'm still going to be living right here, growing my own food. I have chickens, I have eggs, I have garden, I'm putting in a greenhouse, I have my herbal beds, and that is my life right now. And I absolutely adore it. I love it. I love every minute of it because I am not relying on anybody. Like, the world can just, whatever is going to happen it's going to happen whether I'm watching or not. And I might as well be putting good vibes out to the world, or whatever it is that I'm doing over here, because God knows being mad is not helping anything either. So
Well, yeah, and being consumed with it. And I
yeah,
love that so much.
consumed, yeah.
I love that you're doing a greenhouse. That's the thing that I noticed too. I love what Wonderland said. She goes, I would just challenge anyone to just take a month off, Tori, and see how you feel. That's it. Just, can you do it one? And then just see. And I don't
Yeah.
think it's about Tori specifically. It's about, for me, the political sphere right now, or whatever it is if you're engrossed in something that's not giving you life and you're losing yourself in it, or you're stuck in a perpetual state of whatever. That was me. And I didn't realize I was basically held in limbo in this space of, is Tori on? Like, my day wasn't about what can I do to make my home better, my life better. It was like, feeling the anxiety of the world, and then being like, when is Tori going to help? And I never got
Yes.
any help that really helped, but it made me feel better to hear her talk for some reason. So I noticed when I shut her off, it was very important. Like, I'll check the red phone when I feel inclined for my alt account, but it's rare. And every once in a while I'll be like, I need to tune in, I'll hear what I need. And it's something that she's usually lying about. And I'm like, okay, I got it, I can go.
Yeah.
But I noticed an immediate difference, like day 2 of not listening to her, where all of a sudden it was like I was zoomed into, I guess I would say, this world, the black
Sure.
box or whatever. I went into, oh, it's so beautiful. How can it all be horrible when I'm looking at these green hills right now? When I'm hearing a cow over there. When, all of
Yep.
a sudden I was just like, the way I've looked through the world through the filter of the phone and Tori's voice this whole time, or the news or Instagram or whatever it is, really gave me a horrible picture. And I wonder how much of it, like, collectively, we're manifesting that reality of limbo. The
Yeah.
more of us that focus our energy that way. And so when you said about taking care of ourselves and our own energy, that's what I'm feeling right now. And people will scoff at me. I got made fun of yesterday because I was like, I'm pulling away from politics, and I got the guilt trip thing for a minute, which is fine. I get it. But we haven't really done anything anyway, so I'm sure they'll be fine without me. But
Right.
I literally am like, I want to heal the most I can. I want to discard every old wound, old trauma. I want to grow in my knowledge and discernment. I want to let go of anything that I don't need. And I want to experience freedom. And I've been being set free in the last month, and from shit I've had for years. And
Yep.
I'm just going through this healing process of her, because this is a never again moment for me. And I wouldn't have it with anyone else. Like, bless you, Tori. Cheers.
Yep.
I am
I
grateful to have
agree.
fallen for your psyop. And I said from day one, if she's a psyop for the most brightest among us. And I still believe that. So I feel in a way honored that she was the one that duped me, because I have respect for her skill and her craft. But that said,
That's
this is shattering a 40-year experience for me. And I'm like,
mhm.
never again. And so I have been like in that mentality that you described earlier of is you're free, you're as free as you believe that you are. If you believe that the
Yep.
government is standing between you and your own freedom, then that's true for you.
Yes.
But there's people who have lived their lives in prison who were free,
Yeah. Exactly.
who have changed generations with their words. So it's like freedom is not a physical state. And I'm learning that on a deep spiritual level lately. It's been very powerful for me to be like, I'm not afraid of anything. For me, that's freedom. I fear nothing. I fear no one. I don't fear death. I don't fear them coming to my door. I
Yep.
don't fear any of it. And I'm like, this is what freedom means
Hmm.
is I make my own decisions and I won't back down for another person ever. I will never silence my voice because someone's uncomfortable. I'll be kind. I'm not going to go try to ruin
Right.
everyone's day, but
Right.
I that's why I liked Brad's chat. I like it and a lot of people, I understand why some people are like it's just so crazy, it's chaotic and I'm like people who are on the outside looking in. And that's
Yeah.
okay. But like for me, I'm like, you guys, we're just not used to what freedom looks like. And yes, it could turn into something.
It's uncomfortable.
It's so uncomfortable,
It is very uncomfortable. Yeah. Because yeah,
but not in a
it's
bad, but I love it. That's the other thing. I don't want to paint
yeah.
it in a light. It's not for everyone, but I'm like, this is awesome.
Yep.
Like, I love that there's no safety. And I love that if something happens that's weird, then it's all up to all of us to be like, hey, that's weird. Like, please don't do the weird thing. And then they can do the weird thing or not, but the best we can do is
Right.
sharpen one another
Yeah.
and see what blossoms out of free people together. And in my opinion, the people who are there who have been banned and booted, the chances are based on this full series is they're some of the smartest and brightest and most
I
creative.
agree. Yeah. It was very much a well, if you look at it like we were definitely the grad class, the, the senior class or whatever you want to call it.
For
Yeah.
sure. We saw
Yeah.
we saw the writing on the wall before everyone else. You know what I mean? We were kind of
Yeah.
like, we were like, okay, what's up there? And they're like, get out, get them out quick before they tell the others.
Yes, that's
And then
exactly
we
what
found each
happened.
other.
Yeah. And yeah.
I love it. Is there anything else that you want to share? Anything that's on your heart to tell people before we wrap?
I kind of just threw a blank.
That's totally fine.
um
Now I did too. Um trying to think of let me look
that's
at my
okay,
notes,
you
see
can
if there's
edit it.
any I don't
Let
really
me check
like to
my notes.
edit them. Let me check
Let me
my
check my
notes
notes.
too.
Yeah, that's what I said.
I don't know. I'm just happy with the way it's gone. I feel like I love your story very much. I like that you came on because there's not a lot of people who have been out for a while and
Um
I get excited that like there's some goals for me. Like I can be kind of like
yeah,
you one day where I'm not as angry and where I'm living a different
I've done
life.
stuff like 30 days with no internet, 30 days with no social media. Uh and that was good too. And
Yeah.
actually, the only way I ended up back on Facebook was to get my son's wedding pictures. He posted them there, and I needed to go pick them up, so I ended up back on Facebook. But um, I kind of look at the whole thing after that. When you first turn her off, I think everybody's going to go through kind of a withdrawal period, and it is very much like you said. You were so hyper focused on your phone or whatever it was you were watching her on, whatever, and all of a sudden you look around and it's like, oh, there's a big old world out there that is just being ignored. And I think people should not take their freedom for granted. And I think freedom is going to look different for everybody. I think that's a personal choice. I don't think, you know, um, I might not have to do some things that somebody else has to do in order to feel that freedom. Um, like the sovereign citizen, I wanted to address that for a minute because some people feel like if they do not change their birth certificate and go the whole 9 yards, they're not really free. But yet, I don't feel like I need to do that because God gave me my freedoms, not the government and their piece of paper. So I don't feel like I need to change that piece of paper because that piece of paper is literally a piece of paper. It is useless to me. It means nothing to me. And it certainly doesn't control how I feel or how free I am or how enslaved I am. Because if we are all slaves and everything is such a tragic happening, I feel pretty damn good about life being a slave.
I don't think that's allowed. You're supposed to be in fear
Yeah,
and paranoia. Don't
yeah.
you know your
And
overlords?
I'm not afraid. And when I was watching Tori all the time, that got to me a little bit there at the end too, because I felt kind of afraid. Things were a little getting kind of scary, and the media does enough of that for us. We don't need podcasters doing it to us too.
You know, one thing that kind of broke me a little bit was Kathleen's interview. She said a couple things that it's like she put it very simply, things that some people make very complex and scary. And she was like, you guys, it's not as bad. And I don't know why, but those words to me like had that frequency of
I
truth.
agree.
And
Yeah,
that's stuck with me where I'm like, it's as bad as we believe it is, because I don't
exactly.
think that these overlords, the more we reinforce that it's bad, the more we reinforce the power structure mentality, and we give these people more authority by believing. And I'm just kind of like, I don't believe that they have this power. I believe that there's more of us than them. I believe that the harder they try to mess with us, the quicker they'll have to pull back. I know a stupid example, I just happened to see Biden was like, said something about gas stoves and then got backlash about removing gas stoves, and immediately it was like the White House is like, we don't want to do that, guys, like calm down. And I'm like, they're intimidated by us whether they show it or not. There's a level they're not getting through. And if it does get to that point and they want to try, have fun. We'll see what happens. But what are we going to
Yeah, there's
do?
way more of us.
Nations
There's
go through this
way
kind of
more.
shit. Yeah. And I refuse to continue to believe the worst case scenario bullshit. I refuse to continue to believe that politicians control this country entirely. Obviously there's ways, but there's workarounds. You know,
Yep.
we're in a world, this earth is a lower vibrational place. We are spirit beings, in my opinion. We are full of
Yes.
light. We are here to help people come out of the lower vibrational shit. Politics is at the very bottom of that.
Oh yeah.
Low shit.
Yeah.
Religion,
Yeah.
politics, like all these
Yeah.
structures and systems. And since I got out
Yep.
of Tori, I'm seeing her, and when I was in her world, I saw like a spider web. And I thought I did. No. I saw a tiny part of the spider web. Now I'm zoomed out and I'm like, all the other influencers are part of it. And then I'm like zooming out. It's the churches, it's the governments, it's any structure that is trying to control people. That's a part of this place. We're never going to escape it. It's never going to go away because it's in human nature. And once you understand the patterns of people, there's always going to be those that are going to rise to dominance, into power over one another, whether violently or through the paper. But people thrive through the whole thing. And our only goal, in my opinion, is to ascend with the truth and with light and help people set themselves free. And something you said earlier about you as a child knew, and then somewhere along the lines you forgot, and now you're remembering again.
Yes.
And I think that that's what we're all doing, is remembering again and be like, wait a second, you guys, this isn't where we come from. And we've only been here a little bit, and this is going to be like a blip on the radar.
Yes.
And we need to enjoy it, for one. Not everyone gets to come be human for a while. You know, my dog might not have. Like, enjoy the shit out of this experience. Get out of
I
this
think that's our
fear.
purpose, is to feel that experience. It
Yes.
is spirit incarnated, and maybe spirit can't exactly express itself without the human aspect, you know, maybe
100%.
but I also think we create our own reality.
Yep.
And the spiritual side of me, I feel like has went from here to here. Like
Me too.
I yeah. Um and I like the person I am now.
Me
So
too. Are you having fun? Because I'm having fun.
yes, yeah.
I really am. Like, I'm just kind of like, oh, I get to have fun again. And like, I feel like the future is so bright and open because I'm,
Oh yeah. I'm excited about life again.
yep.
I have chickens. I want to, I can't wait to plant garden. And I set up a greenhouse in my basement just to start plants down there because I'm going to be ready this year. Last year I felt like I was all behind, but but
And
I'm
it
not going
gets
to be.
cold where you are, right? So are you
Yeah,
gonna do
yeah.
like a
We have a
winter
harsh winter.
garden? Yeah.
Uh, I'm going to do my seeds and everything downstairs in a greenhouse,
Oh,
and then
nice.
as I'll graduate them as they germinate and then get to be babies, and then they get to go to the yard. But we're also putting in a greenhouse outside.
How
Um,
healing is it to spend time with your plants? I did it once and I was
I
misting them every
love it.
day. And
Yes.
I got out of a depression by doing that. I bought a thing
Yep.
on Amazon one time. I was super depressed when we moved here. My boyfriend went away for 8 months to take a job and I was alone and I was so depressed. And so I ordered on Amazon like the what non-GMO, whatever heirloom seeds, a pack of 25 or
Oh
50 different
yeah.
things. I made
Yes.
them all. I didn't know I'd never done this before. I made everything. I had to build these crazy shelves in my only south facing window, and I did all by seed from dirt. I bought these little things to hold them all, and I'd
Yep.
mist them every day and watch them grow. And then I'd read I had a notebook when I was like, these have
Yeah.
to go out at this time of year and this month. So, like, and then I had it all over my yard. Literally, the whole place was a garden. Like,
Yep.
I didn't even eat most of it at the time. It was before 2020. I ended up giving away most of it, but for me, it healed me completely.
Yes.
Taking care of these plants healed my depression fully.
I agree. I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. But it's really powerful. It's kind of weird when you're helping something grow and cultivating and taking care of something like that act alone is more powerful,
Um.
in my opinion, than all the politics shit we did in
One
the
of the
last two.
things that one of the things that has really really stuck with me, and I listen to other podcasters too. I still listen to podcasts. I mean,
Me too.
we have to do something. And
Yep.
um, but I listen to Crow 777 radio, and every show he says nature doesn't lie, and that is, I literally want to have it tattooed on me because that's, it doesn't.
Yeah.
It, yeah, and that's where you find that grounding and that
Yes.
healing, and you can trust it. And I mean, it's unpredictable. Nature is very unpredictable, but there's something authentic about it.
Mhm.
And I think I, growing up, I always felt like I should have lived on Little House on the Prairie, right? Like I was born in there, like maybe I had a past life from then, I don't know, whatever. And I always thought I was born in the wrong time period, but no, I absolutely was born for this time. I know that with all my being right now,
Mhm.
and every single one of us that are here now, we're here for a reason.
Yep.
And um, but I I really believe in like DNA memory. That's something else I've been looking at, and there are things that just around my house or in my garden or whatever. There's just crazy things that I know without knowing. How do I know this? Um, and so that's kind of a fun thing too. But I think more and more and more people are stepping away from and going back into nature, and they're
Mhm.
going to have to get some kind of medication, like healing in something, um, because I don't know that the Western healthcare is going to make it through this. I hope they don't.
No,
um,
me too.
yeah. And
Well, it reminds
it's
me of that Joni Mitchell lyric, "It's time to get back to the garden." Like, I really
yes.
do think, like, and it's the Garden of Eden. It's literally the
And I've
garden.
studied
It's
herbs.
nature.
I've studied, my dad took me walking. I grew up in Kansas, and I've known herbs since I was a girl. and I kind of let that part of me go. And now it's all flooding right. The more I enjoy it, the more it floods in. Like I'm making salves and all kinds of crazy things. Like
Oh, I was doing that
my
before I found
grandbabies get
Tori.
sick. I made a chest rub because I don't want my daughter putting Vicks on those babies. So I made my own chest rub for them.
I love
I
that.
just did that a couple weeks ago. So there's lots and lots of stuff to entertain me now.
No, I love that. I feel like it was, I don't even want to blame Tori for this. 2020, I found all of these people, and it's like 2020 was
Yes.
earth shattering. And I was like, everyone save me. Who do I look to? But that in 2020, I quit doing all the things I used to do. I was making my own candles. I was making my own salves. I was like researching all this stuff. I was doing gardening, and like, I used to dance in my yard for fun, like all the time under the
Oh
moon,
my
like just
gosh.
for the hell of it. Like, and I haven't danced like that in years. Like, I lost so much of my life
I
and
try
my
to do that
spirit.
every day.
Yes, that's what I've
Yes.
always done. Is like if I feel and I'm stuck, I would put on music and dance, and I would get rid of like I would start moving the energy around me, and it would go away. And I'm like, I've been stuck in a state of limbo for 2 years, and I feel it in my health. I feel it in my
Yes.
body. I've been putting on weight, and I'm not quote stressed, but I think that I'm retentive of
Uh-huh.
my body is in a flight or flight for a while.
Yeah.
And I look forward to coming out of all of this and just
Yeah.
really I'm in the exit stage. I keep telling people I feel like I'm in the end of the birth canal, or like I'm about to give birth, and this podcast is like, here's my baby, now I'm free. Like
Yes. Yes.
I had a dream
Yes.
the other week too that I was a surrogate mother twice. And I told my boyfriend last night, I was like, I wonder if like that's what this is me delivering
Yeah.
this place for people, and as like my offering gift, because I know that it's time to move on for me, and I'm so excited.
Yeah. It's a nice feeling to wake up and be like, man, life is pretty great.
Yeah, it is
Yeah.
what you believe. Like that's the
Uh-huh.
thing. And like you said about nature, the last thing I'll say on this is it's funny that you said that nature, what did you say? Nature doesn't lie.
Never lies.
So it's whenever I would feel overwhelmed, I'd have these moments where I'd look at the hills, and we're lucky to have a really beautiful view of rolling green hills. And it's like there's something so solid there that it's almost laughing back at me, like, really, you worried? I've been here
Yeah.
this whole time. I've
Yeah.
seen a lot.
Yeah.
You don't even know. Is your little
Yep.
life hard right now? Because you're bad government. It's like, well, okay. Yeah, nature doesn't lie. I went to Utah. I went to Moab. It's one of my favorite places last year with my girlfriend. And we were there, and I tell you, I couldn't even look at my phone. It was so, after staring into a canyon for hours and just that experience, and then coming back and looking at my phone, I was like, ew, it's white noise. Like it just, nothing
Yes.
looked real on it.
Yeah. Well, see, I think it was October, around the 1st of October. My daughter and I went on vacation, and we drove from Kansas City to the Canadian border, in Idaho. My son did a destination wedding, and he rented this amazing place for the weekend. But we drove out and back, and we took our two babies with us, and we went to Mount Rushmore. I went to Devil's Tower on the way. We went through Montana and Wyoming. And on the way back, we went through the Badlands of South Dakota. And amazing trip. It was just
I love it.
amazing. I
I love
cried
it.
at Mount Rushmore, though. I literally cried. And it was like, because I remembered that Trump rally that was there. And
Yes. July
um,
4th.
yep. Yeah. And it's a really, I think Americans need a time to mourn what this country was and what it's becoming. And what it becomes is up to us,
Yep.
and how we live each and everyday life, I think
Mhm.
is really more important than we give credit. Um, but the vacation was great. But yeah, that's how I was. I didn't want to be back. No, I don't want to look at my phone or whatever. Yeah.
No, that's exactly how it is. It's beautiful. It's like that's your natural state. And once you're in it, you're like, oh, I don't want any part of that. And I think that you're right about the morning. And I feel that one thing that people need to remember is that these things are cyclical. It might seem bad now, And it might, and maybe it will get worse. I don't know. But in
It might.
there is a fractal nature to this life. And as in nature, everything exists in the world. And the patterns, like when they ramp up too big, they crash and fall. And even though it might get worse, we'll adapt. If it
Yeah.
doesn't get worse, I think that it's having an equal and opposite reaction in people's hearts. And like I said earlier, I think the last 2 years has been learning about psyops from the inside, and we're all learning from all our places in the world, the left,
Yeah.
the right. We're not even those things, you know what I mean? But
Yes.
all individuals have found their way of coping with the world being crazy, denial, cults, psyops,
Yeah.
whatever. We all found our thing. And now I think it's a new re-emerging, like a second wave of whoa, waking up with so much more knowledge, so much more insight, and all of these friendships from these spaces. And it's only going to get better, in my opinion, but that's where I'm at.
I agree, because I think that, well, the medical field, for one thing, has been used against us for so long, and our government, and as evil as it is, cannot sustain itself the way it is. It's not going to
No.
continue this way. Um, People are coming out about cures for cancer. Let's just use that for an example. People have been murdered over that, and
Mm-hmm.
I think that's changing.
Mm-hmm. Me
I
too.
think that I think that the information wave has gotten, it's a tidal wave now. There's no stopping that part for sure. Maybe that's what she was talking about. I don't know, because we can't unsee any of this,
No.
and you just can't unsee things. So it's like, well, it kind of would have been cool, like in the first of 2020, if somebody would have said, "Are you sure you want to look down here?" Because I might, if I knew what was at the end, I might have thought, "Yeah, maybe I don't." Oh
But you're glad you did, right?
yeah, yeah.
Because
I'm
it's
so
the last time. And also,
yeah,
we learned stuff. I think for me, it's really about the friends I made. Not
yeah,
so much the lessons that I learned, because I don't think I learned anything so valuable. I just found it interesting. I was like reading a really fun book for 2 years, but none of that knowledge has like
yeah.
really done anything for me. But I will say the friendships, the experiences, the super fine tuning my discernment, um, on how
Yeah, I feel
psyops
like
work.
it was educating us and fine tuning us for sure.
It
Yeah,
was. And it's like if you can escape the paranoia, because that's the one that I'm letting go of this. I didn't realize how much like this person's bad, that person's bad, like was in me. And I still feel that
oh yeah,
sometimes. And so breaking that off, and I'm trying to see everyone, including Tori, on a clean slate, which means
yeah,
I can actually address things that are wrong with you as I would a friend. I'm not going to
yes,
ignore you or hate you from a distance. I'm going to say, what you're doing is wrong. I have enough respect for you to look at you eye level. But the idea of people being bad or good is something I'm working out. I'm not there yet, but I think we all have the potential to create or to destroy. The line between good and evil runs through the heart of every man. So we're at that
sure,
point now. I'm like, I want to understand this person did bad things, but that doesn't mean I don't see the beauty in them, you
right,
know? And so right now she's facing, whether she likes it or not, a mirror, and it's not reflecting back something pretty. And the only
right,
person that's all in her hands, but I'm not going to stop
right.
until I know
Yes,
it's time. But right now I'm like, dude,
yeah.
I needed to decompress all that shit with people. So I'm so thankful we all have each other, because it's like people may come and go from that space, but it's so nice to just say the thing. Like, did you guys see this? That was super fucked up. And everyone's just like, and then you find yourself laughing, and then you find yourself healing. So
Yes. Yeah. That's what I
anyway,
said the other night in there, man. If there's laughter, we're healing, you know.
yeah, that's how I
Um,
feel. It's
yeah.
just like we all have a lot of
One of
energy.
the things about that group is, and I hope that for that group, I don't know how active I will be in there. I don't know how long I'm going to stay in this group. I don't know. Um, I feel like I have a pretty good connection with a lot of those people. We definitely went through things together. Well, we were alone. We didn't know we were together until now.
I know
But
we were alone
yeah,
together.
yes. And so that gives a connection that you will always have, I think. And but I hope that one of my hopes for that group is that that space stays open for once other people heal and move and grow and what have you. I think there's going to be a little bit of a trickle or a steady flow
Yeah.
of people coming out of that situation, and they're going to need understanding, and they need that space to vent as well.
That's why it's gonna
So
that's why I call it the Wild West. It's always going to be messy because like you said, people
yes,
are in all their phases of grief and we have to hold
yep,
space for them. And as
yes,
hard as it is to see people angry, there's something like when your anger is acknowledged by another, for me, it's healing because I feel like I have a right to be angry. And when I'm not being like
sure.
made to feel bad for that, especially after the suppression we just came out of, it's really
It,
important. So I love what you just described because I was telling another friend, I love Donna so much. And I was like, I almost hope that like some of us, as we work through our grief, we become leaders for a while. And my vision is, I don't know what it will be, but in my mind's eye, it's almost like then once we know other people are caretakers, then maybe I get to leave,
yes,
and the next,
that's
it's
almost
almost
exactly
like,
what I thought. Yes.
yeah, like helping people to help one another out of it.
That
Doesn't
was
mean,
another reason why I did
yeah,
why I joined that group and why I wanted to do this interview was well, I'm definitely I'm a little bit further down the road than other people, and but looking back, and there's always going to be that new person who's just
yeah,
waking up,
yeah,
and there has to be a space for that person, no matter how far down the road you are.
yeah.
So yeah,
I love it. No, I love it. And I'm just thankful that Brad has given us this space. Like it means the world to me. He took a big far right turn out of nowhere. And I'm just like, that was
yeah.
ballsy. When I got his video, I was like, he did what? Like, he did
Oh,
only Tori
yes.
clips. And then he was just like, wait a second, guys. I was like, who is this man? I love him.
I
But
read
I
his.
appreciate him.
Yeah, I read the stuff that he spent lost a lot of money and a lot of stuff. Um, I'm glad that I didn't fall that hard. Yeah,
Me
yeah,
too.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, any final words to send off this episode? It's been so much fun. Honestly, I feel like we're just hanging out. I forgot we were doing a podcast. I'm
I
like,
know, right? Yeah, yeah. That helped because I hate being recorded and stuff. So that's whatever. This made it easier. Yeah, you're easy to talk to. So thank
you
you very
too.
much.
Anything you want to say, or you good?
Um, I think it's possible to love somebody and not like them. And that's sort of where I'm at with Tori right now. I think I'm probably always going to hold a space in my heart for her. I really want the best for her. I hope at some point she stops and looks from a different direction or whatever it is that she needs to do to see. And I hope that someday she finds healing.
Yeah,
I hope everybody does. Yeah.
me too. All right. This has been awesome. I
Okay,
appreciate
cool.
you so
Thank you.
much. All right. You have a great day. Thanks for coming on.
Okay, you too.